The new deployment of U.S. troops is to assist Iraqi forces in fighting the self-proclaimed Islamic State or ISIS terrorist group. Joining me with context of the crises and where it could lead are my guest, SDSU Political Science Professor Emeritus Deepak Gupta and Sean Van Diver, an Iraqi war veteran and co-director of the local chapter of the Truman National Security Project. And Deepak, what does this deployment of 450 more troops in Iraq tell you about the situation?
Well, they're going in there in their advisory capacity. They're not combat troops. And they are going to be in charge of training, and also, most importantly perhaps, because General Dempsey is talking about lily pad kind of deployment, where there will be several different military bases along that corridor. And what they're likely to do is to work not only with the Shiite government, but also with the Sunni ordinary people around the base to develop something that can resemble the awakening that they did so successfully in Iraq.
And Sean, so this role in the American troops, that's different than having boots on the ground. Do you think it'll be successful?
Absolutely. The role is for, we're sending 450 trainers in there. So they'll be behind the lines. They'll be training the Iraqi army. And, you know, war's fluid. So absolutely, they may end up engaging at some point, but probably not. And they'll be training, and that's their sole mission. And that's okay. And that's how we should be participating in this.
Do you think it's necessary at this point?
It's absolutely necessary.
How come?
It's necessary because we need to make sure that we invaded Iraq, and we need to make sure that their forces are well trained and that they have the political will to fight.
And Deepak, remind us of ISIS, who they are and what their goals are.
They're really an Islamic extremist group with incredibly literal understanding of the Quran, and they want to create an Islamic state. It's a theocratic state, and they're very ruthless in the sense that if you do not buy every aspect of their ideology, they would consider you to be a non-believer, or as they would say, unbeliever, or a kafir.
Sure, and they're different than, let's say, Al-Qaeda for one main reason, as far as there's terrorist activities, and what is that?
Well, they're very different from Al-Qaeda because Al-Qaeda was more interested in attacking the United States. They called us the far enemy. And ISIS, on the other hand, wants to develop an Islamic caliphate in that region, Iraq and Syria, then ultimately spread all over the world and take back all the land that the Muslims used to own.
So focusing in the Middle East as opposed to attacking the U.S. Now, Sean, why do you think ISIS is succeeding in taking cities in Iraq and advancing in the Arab world?
Well, they're scary, and they're a very well trained and very. So what happened is when we went through and we said that if you were in Saddam's army, you had to go. If you worked in Saddam's government, you had to go. Well, those guys, those generals and those commanders just went over to Syria and joined ISIS and are now commanding those military. So they're very good and they're very sophisticated. And Iraq has had some trouble with the political will. So that's what we need to be working on, is developing the political will and developing that 4D approach, which is defense, diplomacy, democracy, and development.
Okay, so that's what the U.S. can help develop over there. But Deepak, what do you think it'll take to defeat ISIS?
It will take the development of a unified Iraqi nationalism. When the Shias, the Sunnis, the Kurds, they can work together to fight ISIS, they will be defeated. Until then, it will be mired in all kinds of conflicts. The same in Syria. They have to have an inclusive government, and that has eluded us, them, for a long time.
So much more to talk about on this and how to move forward on that, but we're out of time. Deepak Gupta and Sean Van Diver, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.